With the gifted students, one of the things that they like to be able to do is explore and discover on their own. So I presented them with the big concept and then let them take a look at it and try to put it in their own frame of reference. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end point of World War I. So we've been studying all the events leading up to this, and we're actually coming to probably the most important event in regards to the future of the world. And with that, I gave them the option of how they wanted to see it. I wanted them to use a variety of sources. Some of them, they can hear things and see them in video, and that works really great for them, and they understand it much better. Some of them, it works better to read it, and they can interpret the information better. So by giving them those variety of sources and saying, have at it, they really take to it and they play to the strength that they have. I'm going to send you guys off to do some research and investigation. So I've shared a document with you all on the Treaty of Versailles. When students have the opportunity to find the information and put it into their own frame of reference, they get a lot more engaged and excited to research and understand it. I can stand up there and say, Germany is going to get punished for what happens at the end of World War I, and they might shrug it off and go from there and kind of just go on and say, okay. But if I have them read through the original document and piece it together themselves, they start to come to these conclusions and say, wow, this is what it is. And now they've made that their own ownership. So not only are they able to express that, but now it's put into a place in their memory that's much deeper than what I could do by just telling them. The first thing you are going to do is you are going to research. You need to figure out what the Treaty of Versailles is. And I want you to use a variety of sources. Now, just like with trench warfare, what are some of the acceptable sources that we may use? Rachel?
Pictures.
Pictures. Pictures are always good. We can see what the document looks like, the individuals involved. Pictures worth 1,000 words. Good. What else? Nevin?
Videos.
Good. We can use videos. Those are a great resource. Anything else that we may use? Ariel?
Government websites.
Government websites, so their summary of it. One of the great things about this type of environment is that they're learning 21st century skills. It's not the typical what we're used to, where you go to the library and you have to pull up the card catalog and go from there. They have the whole world at their fingertips, and we want to show them how to do that appropriately. We want them to find good sources, so we're teaching them those skills, as well as interpreting information on their own and coming to their own conclusions. These are the same type of skills that they'll be applying in their future when they're evaluating what political candidates might say and different things in the world. They're taking that in and they're going to internalize it, and those skills develop here. As you're doing this research, what I want you guys to do, I want you with your table groups, I want you creating a Google Doc. And just like I shared this one with you, I want you to create a Google Doc for your groups, and I want you to compile that together. Get all your research in one place. Get your resources and everything all piled up there. Any technology they introduce is you establish clear expectation as to what's expected, and you really help alert them at the fact that the internet's not a place where it's not all rainbows and puppies. There's bad things on there, and you teach them about that up front, and you teach them how to use the internet in a safe, secure way. And you act as a support in the classroom, and you show them this, just from the website title, just from the web address, this is probably not a place that I want to go, so we're just not even going to venture there. In this class, we were doing a whole project-based unit on World War I, so students had multiple things, and they were working towards the one driving question about justice, was justice served? And so that kind of framed everything that we did. So we were able to see all the events leading up to this culminating activity where they looked to answer that. They saw everything that happened. We read All Quiet on the Western Front to go along with that, and they saw it from a German perspective. We did documentaries where they were able to see that, and all of that led to this moment where they have to evaluate, was this fair what happened? And when that all comes together, that all is done through student-directed learning. All right, so as we discussed at the beginning of World War I with our big guiding question about justice, was justice served with this? I want us to discuss what we found. So first thing I want us to ask is, what essentially, in the most compact version capable, did the Treaty of Versailles do? Natasha.
There was this quote that I found from when I was little. War doesn't determine who is right, only who is left. Germany was one of the strong powers. They were like the Axis, and they were hurting people, and and they were like one of the main countries that started World War I. So all they were doing was making sure that they don't come back and that they're not left and they don't pose a threat anymore.
Okay. And Kyle will do final comment.
Imagine Germany had teamed up with Europe and it had been on us. The treaty had been signed on us and we would have been crushed. From that perspective, seeing it from both sides, you need to realize that they weren't the only ones that were on the other side. There were several other countries that we were against, and I don't see it fair that Germany is basically just demolished and there's nothing left. You have no economy, and your country is basically done. I just don't see it fair that they were demolished when they weren't the only ones on the other side.
Okay, really good. Just quick show of hands. Raise your hand if you think that justice was served. Okay. Hands down. Raise your hand if you think that justice was not served. Okay. Hands down. Raise your hand if you think it was kind of a gray area. There were some things that were right to do, but there were aspects of it that weren't fair. And so, okay. I'm just curious. You guys can reflect that in your responses. And again, this is a personal response. This isn't a definite yes or no answer. I want you. So as long as you justify what you believe and you can support it, that's fine. All right? So go ahead and keep working on your websites.